Right, so this is going to be, I'm going to be doing this every month, you guys. Last month we did it with Mark Datar, which was awesome, and just going to be highlighting a different real estate agent inside and outside of our office. Last month we interviewed Mark. I think everybody in here liked it. Am I right? Everybody was saying thought that was awesome. We posted it up on Facebook. We shared it to the company. Had over 700 people viewed that interview that I did with Mark, and I can't tell you. Because I'm on every single email distribution list in the company, and Mark was talking about notepads, and then the minute people started watching the video, I saw the notepad order emails going out like crazy around the entire company. So hopefully you guys will see a lot of value out of this. Again, we did Mark last month. We're going to do Eric this month, and I'll introduce Eric in a minute. Pam, we'll do you a month. We'd like to do Kim Connor, Susanna Wong, maybe Dominic Nicoli. Ginny On is another one that somebody brought up to me. If there's somebody that you think would be cool to hear from, let me know, and I'll reach out to them and try and get them scheduled for one of these upcoming conversations. So, Eric, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody, I think most people in here know who Eric is, and for those of you that don't, I'll just do a quick little introduction. I've known Eric for 20 years.
20.
Eric and I did a deal together probably 20 years ago over my geographical farm in Sunnyvale.
There it was.
You represented the buyer, and I worked at trying to recruit him for a decade, unsuccessfully. But finally, when we started Intero,
I made it out.
He made it out. We were able to get him over to Intero, and so Eric's been in the business how many years?
About 20, 22.
22, okay. And so he does primarily the most of his business over in Mountain View. Does a lot of geographical farming, and so I just thought it would be interesting to hear kind of what he's doing. The market's changing; it's been challenging. Kind of just get a little bit of his history, and what he's doing, kind of a little bit of a transitioning market like the one that we're in today. So, kind of just to start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like your family situation. You got kids, married? Where do you live? How'd you get into this crazy business?
Oh boy, I have 4 kids. We live in Los Altos. I always wanted to be a real estate agent. My goal was, in the beginning, I wanted to own 10 homes and have them each have $1,000 positive cash flow, and then I'd have $10,000 a month coming in, and I'd be rich.
Funny how times change, huh?
Exactly. I could go to the beach. I could get paid.
Yeah, so. It's funny when I used to my mom and dad would send me $500 a month when I was in college, and it seemed like so much money back then. It's like, oh my God, I never need any more than $500 a month, and that paid my rent, my groceries, and everything else. Have 4 kids and move back to the Bay Area, and you understand how it changes. So tell us a little bit. So you've been in it this 22 years. How did you get started? Like what did you do specifically to kind of get yourself kind of going when you first got in the business?
So I was really lucky. When I joined Cornish and Carey. It was like 1990, October of 1990. And I walked in the office, and there's a bunch of people running out, and they said, what are you guys doing? Come with us. We're going to a Mike Ferry action workshop. It was on a Monday morning, and so I didn't know any better, and I went. And those action workshops were once a week on Mondays from 8 to 1. And then at the end of the day, he gave you homework. And so you had to do your homework. And the first day, the homework was cold call 500 people, contacts, and for the week. So you do 100 a day. And then on Monday, he would say, okay, who didn't do their homework? 400 people at the old place on Stevens Creek somewhere, Lou's Village. Mm-hmm. And stand up, and people would stand up. And he goes, why didn't you do your homework? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you see, I had to, and then I couldn't. And then, oh my God, he would just slice you down and embarrass you in front of everybody and sit you down. He'd go, next person, why didn't you do your homework? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And so you absolutely had to do it, otherwise you'd be just horrified in front of, 400 people, especially being new in a business. So, I had to call 100 people a day, and then next week was contact 100 doors a day, and then the week after that was contact 50 expireds, 50 for sale by owners the next week, and on like that. So I got lucky. I didn't know, so I had to do that.
How did that work for you when you first? So what happened when you did all that in the beginning? I remember the action workshops because I went to several of those as well.
They were awesome. He was so funny. If you came late to the action workshop, you'd walk in and he'd say $20, $20, $20, and some people thought he was joking, and he wasn't. So if you didn't pay your 20 bucks, you had to leave. So
Yeah.
20 bucks. And Mike, where's the money go? He goes, to me. So I didn't have a car when I first started. So
You didn't have a car?
no, my wife had a car. I'd either ride the bike to work or she would drop me off at the office. So, so I had to go out and knock on doors around the neighborhood, and I met a lady like 4 doors down from the office, and her dad had just died. She inherited some money and his new Cadillac. So we drove around in his new Cadillac and looked at houses to buy, and we ended up buying a house.
That's awesome.
So it all started by doing that.
Got it. So you've got an incredibly successful business. You consistently make $250,000 a year or so. And so what have you done to get yourself to that? And what do you do consistently now?
So starting out with not knowing anything, I came to Intero, and I had a lot of breakthroughs. This is the greatest company in the world. Thank you very much.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, if I hadn't come here, I'd probably be out of business because my mental attitude was all wrong. One of the things I learned coming here was that it's not about me and it's not about a commission. It's about being there for the customer. And part of my door knocking is how I'm making my money, is passing out flyers as the neighborhood updates. But it's not for me, it's for them. So I think that was a big thing that helped me. But physically, what I do is I door knock, I pass out flyers.
So tell us about that. So you pass out flyers. What exactly do you mean when you say you pass out flyers? Like, how many do you pass out? Where do you pass them out? How frequently do you pass them out? What specifically are you passing out?
So I started. There's 1,000 homes near where I live.
And you didn't have a car, so you had to go.
Yeah, on foot. And so eventually I made somebody buy a car. But when it turned around, really when it turned around was when I came here. There's 1,000 homes near where I live, and I got a listing in there, and I did my 1,000, and it was physically exhausting. I couldn't do it. It took like a month, and mentally I was wiped out. So it was amazingly difficult to do that. But
and when did you do that? And when was that? When did you start knocking doors like that? Doing
well, I've been knocking doors, essentially all my career, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I was going all in different areas, and I was doing all the different things, different places, so I couldn't get any consistency or anything like that. And then we read my first week in Intero. We read the book 10 Things I Learned from Bill Porter, about a guy with cerebral palsy. Nobody would hire him anywhere in the world. Finally, whatever that company was hired him. They gave him a territory in Portland, in the East Palo Alto section of Portland. He had to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to get himself partially dressed to catch the bus to get to downtown by 7, so the bellman could button him up, get him on a bus to his territory by 9 so he could start door knocking in the ghetto with hills and rain and all that stuff, and he could barely walk and couldn't carry his briefcase barely. And he had to go there every day. So he went once a week through that neighborhood over and over again. He said people were furious with him. He says, "Don't you ever come back here." I mean, these, big mean people. And there he was the next week. You want to buy some cinnamon? I got some seeds, kind of thing. So I figured out I could go through my neighborhood, and I had 2 listings in the same week, and so I had to go again. And how weird is that, at least at the time? So I went and I did it, and I got better and faster and better and faster. So it started out at 1,000 near me, and after I built it up kind of like a savings plan where you kind of build up, you start working out, you just a little at a time. So I increased it, and I'm in Los Altos and Palo Alto, so it's more than that.
So you started out with 1,000 houses, and so were you knocking on all the doors?
Yeah, knocking on all the doors, talking to everybody. Hi, here's your update. And if they wanted to talk to me, they would. And if they didn't, they'd say, "Thank you." And I would say, "You're welcome," and I'd leave. So it's a very simple process. There wasn't anything elaborate about it.
And so how frequently, when you started, when you had 1,000, how frequently did you hit that 1,000 homes in the beginning?
Once a month, because it took me about a month to get through it. And then that was a couple years, and then I got the listing in there, and then I got that second one in there, and it was right after that. And that's when that when that thing came through. It was like I have to go twice, like a week after, and how am I going to get it through a week?
So that's interesting. So 1,000 homes, you were out knocking on the doors, delivering something every single month. How long did it take before you got your first listing?
It was about a year and a half.
Okay. Year and a half. Okay, year and a half. So that's, I talk about that a lot here with geographical farming, and a lot of things with this business. It's not an instant gratification business, and that's the hardest thing for most people. Is most of us give up before we really ever can kind of reap the rewards of all of our hard work. And it's kind of I think that's the same thing in a lot of different industries. So a year and a half, you finally get your first listing, and you've just been doing that same 1,000 houses once a month for a year and a half, and you finally get a listing. Then what happens?
It sold, which is a good thing,
And then when did you get your next listing?
So there's one that came right after that. So that's when I had to go twice. And then I don't really know what happened, but it just snowballed after that. And I got it down where I could do, 1,000 in a week is pretty easy. And now it's about 1,250 or 1,400 a week right now. So it's a lot faster, it's a lot quicker. I've already talked to a lot of the people, so I've already met them. But I'm faster, I'm better at it. Again, I knew nothing, I was doing nothing, and you just started out slow and work up.
So how many homes are you dropping door to door today?
So it's about 45, almost 5,000 a month.
5,000 a month, and you drop them off door to door?
Yeah, I'm kind of I think I'm at capacity.
How long does it take you to do 5,000 a month?
It's about 1,250 to 1,500, 1,400 a week. So it just I do per week now.
But how many? So if you do 1,250, how many hours does it take you to deliver 5,000 in a month?
Well, let's say if it was 1,200 in the week, it'd be about 12 hours, I think. It's about 100 per hour.
About 100 per hour.
Yeah.
And so right now, what are you saying when you knock on those people? Are you knocking on doors still every month?
I do. There's a lot of people I haven't met. The beautiful thing is I get to meet a lot of nice people. 97% of the people are completely indifferent. They could care less. A lot of people do like to get the update because they want to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And some people don't, and that's okay. So, but it's a very complicated, here's your update.
That's all you do? Nothing else?
Because again, if they're busy, whatever they're doing, if they want to talk to me, they'll grab it and they'll say, so what happened on such and such or whatever. They'll look at me like, look at you funny or something. Something will trigger where they want to talk. Otherwise, they'll just grab and say thank you and close the door. It's like, you're welcome.
So so what are you dropping off? So you just always a neighborhood update? Is that all it is?
Yeah. So one side is a for sale, under contract and sold, list price, sales price, lot size, square footage, day it came on, how many days it was on the market. It's just what you would want to know, just what they want to know. So that's why it is for them. And then on the front, if I have an open house, it's please come to my open house. And if there isn't anything, because now I have more listings, but I'd make something up, like any of this stuff that's there. Oh, the market's up, the market's zooming, the market's crashing. Whatever it is going on in the market, homeowners want to know, whatever it is. And you can put stats on there. That's the hardest part, is making something up. So this is so great that Intero's making this. But doing stats is always a good thing. Average price, list price, sales price. I keep it specific to the neighborhood though, because they don't care about the other neighborhood where I'm not, or where their house isn't. So for that neighborhood, that school district, that geographic boundary, whatever that is. So it's relevant. That's why they like to get it.
So beyond, so now you do your 5,000 houses. What about like all of your past clients, friends, family, sphere of influence? What are you doing to continue to kind of keep in contact with those people?
Most of them are in there, so that's sort of the way I do it, but I don't have an email farm. My past clients are usually within the farm. If they've bought in Sunnyvale, I try to go see them once a year, but that's the first day Intero, JT said, write down your top 30 clients and build your database.
Yeah.
7 years later.
So we'd probably get you to do $1.5 million if you'd get that part. Although you're doing 5,000 doors a month, which is pretty amazing.
Well, yeah. So.
What else? So what other forms of lead generation activity are you doing to get business?
2009 the market changed, so I stopped doing mailers. I think I've done 3 mailers since then.
You do everything by hand.
Yeah, I've once in a while, I've run probably an ad once in the last 3 or 4 years, something like that. So it's tougher for me to break in, but once I'm in, it's all good.
Are you holding open houses?
Yeah, open houses. So absolutely, I do my own open houses because then I get to meet all the neighbors again. I get to meet the buyers, and I'm there. I work so hard to get that listing. I want to be there. So anything I can get at my farm, if another agent has a listing and they'll let me hold it open, in this market it's harder, but in the slower markets, they're happy to shuffle it off. And so I think that helps show that I like the neighborhood, I want to be there, and other agents aren't doing it and I am. So open houses and flyers.
So you're investing about 50 hours a month is what it boils down to if you're doing 100 an hour.
Yeah.
Or so. How much money are you investing every month in your business and as far as marketing yourself with all the pieces that you print and anything else that you do?
So I have a $129 printer from whatever that
Office Depot.
Office Depot, and ink and paper is a little bit expensive. I use a thick cardstock, but it's not too bad. I don't even know the cost on it. I haven't ever broken it down, but it's not that much.
Peanuts.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's
less
nothing.
than probably less than
Less
500.
than an ad for sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably $500-600 a month maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Because I'll order like 5,000, pages, and then it'll. I should look at the bills and I can find out, but it's not that much.
I love it.
it's
Doesn't
not-
pay
I don't
attention to
have
the
a
details. You shoot first, ask questions
overhead.
second.
Well, and what's his name? Art Scott
Yeah.
taught me that.
Yeah. Art was the master
Ready
of that.
fire, ready fire.
Ready, fire. I do remember that. I worked with Art in the same office for about 3 years when we first got started in real estate. So, so how many hours in a week are you working like right now? Do you work 7 days a week? Is there certain do you have a schedule? How does that all work for you?
So whatever it takes for me to get the 1,000, originally the 1,000 out that week, or if it's a little bit more now, I get them out that week for the open house. So that week would be Saturday and Sunday open house plus the 5 days before to get all the flyers out. So that week is 7 days a week. But if
Are you working? Are you working
day,
8? Okay, so you're not. So you're working 8 or 10 hours a day every day during the middle of the week.
6 to 8.
Okay, 6 to 8.
It's because I'm not showing buyers all over the place, so that cuts down on the number of offers I have to write, which cuts down on disclosure packets. And I love buyers; they're fun. I'll be very specific with them. I can't drive to Los Gatos or Saratoga to show property. I can, but then that day is completely gone. So it's easier once you turn the corner. In the beginning, I worked buyers, 5 or 6 years because they're fun. Buyers are great, but
That's how you and I met.
I can't anymore. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I can't anymore. So it takes too much time. So there's this one neighborhood of Palo Alto that in 2008, the market was changing everywhere else. Los Altos, Mountain View was still red hot, but I figured I better diversify a little bit. And I kind of had that 1,000 down pretty easily, and I actually went into Los Altos, this other neighborhood.
Because you were primarily the 1,000 was Mountain View initially.
Exactly.
So you were only doing Mountain View.
Exactly.
And so when did you expand into Los Altos?
It was about 4 or 5 years ago. We read The Slight Edge, and
Yeah, it's a great book.
And Angie in our office goes, Eric, just do 2 streets. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. Oh my God, I can't do it. Just do 2 streets. I did it, and they weren't as long as I thought they were, and it didn't take as much time. And the people, it's Los Altos, they weren't as whatever as I thought they would be. And so then now it's 1,000 in Los Altos, 1,000 Mountain View, 1,000 in one part of Palo Alto, 700 in another part of Palo Alto, and 500 in another part of Mountain View. And then there's another little section that I'm doing. But also, Hawk had me go down to Evergreen, and that kind of also helped. Because I thought, I wonder if this really works, So that's also helped me start Los Altos, because I wonder if I can do this.
Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it, and I think if they can do it, I wonder if I can do it.
Right.
So I went to the new area, and then I went to Palo Alto about 4 years ago, and nothing for 2 years, and then
But you were still dropping something off every month.
And let me tell you, the worst thing is mentally. I have all the things, and let's play what goes through my brain or what goes through your brain if you do this, or for those that are doing it, and if you want to do it, it'll be fun.
Okay.
But so I figured out, okay, if it's 5 years, and if it's I did all 5 days a week and a certain amount of hours per day. It came out to 60, if I go through a neighborhood 60 times and it takes 10 hours, it's 600 hours. And if you sell one house in 5 years, the per hour pay for passing out the flyers was $50 an hour. So then if I got 2, then it's 100. And so the first, in Palo Alto, I got 1, then I got 2, and then I had 4. So it's growing, so my per hour is now, the sales prices there are higher, so it's actually double that. So that's one of the things that helps me get through the day, kind of thing. And that was a completely new area where I knew nobody, and there's no Intero office in Palo Alto. There's nothing, it's all new. So
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So if you were an agent right now, if you give some advice to an agent who's making $100,000 a year, they've been kind of stuck in that range for a long time, I mean, what would you tell them to do? Like, look, if they were on your payroll, and you were paying them a salary, and you needed to get them to make $500,000 a year, what would you demand that they do?
I'd start out go big and go like 3, 4, 5 hours a day, and make you do it, or make me do it. But really, it's probably better to start out smaller, and then build, So, and going all the way back to the beginning, the great Albert Garibaldi. Everyone says it, but I heard it first from him, is know your why. Why are you here? Him also, why are you here? What's the, am I here because are you here for money? Are you here for ego? Are you here because you're kids? Is it fun? Or you have no other options? Is it better than working at Safeway? Is it worse than working at Safeway? If you know why you're here, everything else falls into place after that. Because then when you've got the bad day, when you've got 3 listings in a year instead of 9 or 12, your why is clear. It'll get you through it gets me through all the bumps. And I tell you, mentally, it is, you have to be prepared for anything. Somebody could come to the door and go, "Ugh!" You could get shot. It hasn't happened, knock on wood. But, people could be happy. You just got to be ready for anything, and so when it all hits you, then you kind of, the why takes over. Oh yeah, I'm here because I can't live where I live working at Winchell's like I used to.
I love it. So questions? Any questions anybody in here has specific for Eric? A good hands go. Billy Sugarcamp first.
Did you do anything for the absentee owners?
Hold on, and I'm going to ask the question again, just so because I have this mic on, right? He may ought to hear it. So he asked, are you doing anything specific for absentee owners in your farm?
That is a mailer I did like a year ago. I said the rental market is exploding. If you need help with forms, I've got them. If you want to know what the market rents are, call me. If you, whatever it is. So again, it's for them, informational, not call me to list your house. It's for them because really that's what it is.
Are you doing that consistently?
No, so I did it once, and I got a listing from that.
And stopped.
I stopped. And it's on my to-do list of get the farm the non-owner occupieds. Those are so fun and easy. It's ridiculous.
It's like
I haven't set it up yet.
The farm non-owner occupies in your center of influence, a system for those. I mean, it's easy for you to go out and do door to door because there's you just got to print and you just go start walking, right? I mean, you got a little more planning, but
exactly.
That's awesome. Dana, real quick, you had a question. So she asked, what are the best hours to go out and door knock?
So one time when my kids were playing baseball, like Tom's lucky enough, his kids are, is I had like 20 minutes before the game started. So I figured, I can just go down that street and back. And it was literally 10 minutes. It was 5 and 5, and I still got to the game on time. It's whenever you have a few minutes. And as you get stronger, you will build that up to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. But I had nothing else to do. And really, there's nothing else for me to be doing, right?
So it's funny, real quick. So how Eric, I would have asked Eric to come anyway. He's been on my list. But so Eric showed up here, not last week, but the week before. It was Wednesday morning. And he just swung by here because he wanted to grab the tour sheet because he thought, it's not, why do I want to drive all the way back to Los Altos to print a tour sheet? I was just out knocking doors. I want to go on tour in Saratoga, so I'm just going to swing by the Saratoga and pick up the tour sheet. So all this before, most people even showed up to the office. I mean, he's already gone out and knocked on doors, comes by the office, picks up the tour sheet just to create that kind of efficiency of just like, don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah, because I like to be home with the kids, and so if I miss 20 minutes with the kids is good. It sure beats traveling. For a lot of people have to travel for their jobs, but 20 minutes with the kids is a lot of time. It's not all day, but it's 20 minutes. So if I can save 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, I had to really focus on 5 and 10 minute, 15-minute intervals because that's how much time I had. A life cycle on the Hill program is 18 minutes. If I do that, during dinner, I miss dinner. So you gotta put it somewhere. If I lost 20 minutes doing something I shouldn't have been doing, God, I could have got that done. So again, just slowly weeding out the little time wasters and the little stuff like that. And trust me, I still am 20% productive, but
Yeah. Real quick, hold on, real quick. Heather, you had a question?
Yeah, do you print your flyers in color or
Yes.
black and white?
So she asked you print them in color or black and white?
Color.
Everything color.
Just it looks better, and I use the 65 or 110 pound cardstock because it feels good and it doesn't look like trash on their door.
I mean, I always tell everybody, I think you had only one opportunity to make a first impression, and it's like, some people, go through all that effort, energy, and work, and then just that last little piece, they just don't push that impression that you're giving people right across the goal line, which is so important.
Because sometimes I'm starting to see a few other flyers and they're the rolled up simple paper and it looks terrible.
Cool.
To me, somebody else might like it, I don't know.
Mr. Haskell in the back.
On a very granular level, how did you get better at doing the actual door knocking? What actual activities or what techniques did you use to improve the speed?
Just doing it, and you're by yourself all day, so you have to, scary place to be. So you
On the
hear
job
whatever.
training?
Yeah, you hear what everyone says after. If you go do 100 condos, you'll hear what everyone says, and then you kind of got it, and then you come up with stuff later, like you got on a date, and then God, I should have said this. Or at the listing presentation, God, I wish I would have said that. So you just that kind of thing.
Got it. Pretty simple. Darlene.
What is your why?
What is it? So she asked, what's his why?
So I'm really lazy. I want to be at the beach. I want to be in the country, in the mountains. But I like walking. I want to do this, but not for money. It's fun. There's places I want to be. It pays for. We never really went on vacations and didn't have enough money. So now we get to go to Hawaii. I didn't get to go as a kid, and we didn't until like 6 or 7 years ago. So I get to blow money on renting a house in Del Mar, which is stupidly expensive, but
It's awesome.
So I want to be done. I want to spend time with the kids. I want to spend time in the yard.
I love it. It's awesome. Kim.
I can't do anything else.
How do you analyze to pick a farm that called this is a good farm to see?
So she said, how do you select a good farm?
Close by your house, close by your office, easy to get to, a place that you like.
And those are all the reasons I always tell people.
What about
Exactly.
agents already have a strong foot in it?
It's tougher. If you got one person there really in there, it's really hard. So you can try it for a while.
I mean, I used to be a big geographical farmer. I'll just, so she asked, what do you do if there's a person who dominates already in a market that you're considering? I can tell you the one thing I think, this is my personal opinion, is that, what happens sometimes when one person is dominating a specific area, everybody else abandons it because they're intimidated by that one person. So basically that one person's eliminated all of the other competition except for themselves. And if they've been in there long enough, they end up becoming complacent over time because there's nobody competing with them. So they end up not doing all the things that, my guess is Eric could probably go into one of the areas where somebody's currently dominating. Because, I mean, honestly, how many of you have had a real estate agent knock on your door? Honestly. And I bet you it's less than 5% of the people in this room have had a real estate agent knock on their door. So if you're somebody who's willing to go out and do what Eric does, I'm convinced that actually in some ways, maybe even an area that's currently being dominated by another real estate agent might be the best area. Because they've, like I said, they've eliminated the majority of your competition.
And if they're opposite than you, you know, if they're an old white guy, then you, you know, would fill that gap because not everybody likes me. You know, there's 75% of the people who list with somebody else.
Yeah, that's always the other thing to remember. You know, I think people are into this perception when you're going to geographically farm, you're going to get 75% of the market. I mean, if you get 25% of the market, it's awesome. I mean, that's really good. But
5 and 10 is outstanding.
So 5 to 10% of the market is outstanding. You know, which is kind of just good to know. Other questions in here, Mr. Tatar?
Do you ever do notepads?
I thought about it and I almost signed up for it. I don't know how they would like it because I've never done it, and if it's too much, or maybe if I was new to the neighborhood, I would. I don't know. I know I lost a listing because of it, because the lady couldn't remember who I was, older, and her kids were there, and they go, "It's this guy, he always comes by, and oh, you know, I don't know, and they listed with somebody else."
Do notepads. You'll make another $250,000. I would bet a year just by notepads.
So
I'm a big believer that they
what
throw
do you say when you drop them off?
I don't think you just drop it off. I think my personal opinion is they're going to
Here,
throw.
you need this?
Now the good thing that you do that most agents don't do is you're so consistent and they see you every single month. I wish I could say that everybody would do that, you know, and so you help compensate for that. But I'm just always, and I tell you guys this every sales meeting, that the notepad has a life beyond you there. They're going to throw away your piece eventually, even if it has comps and information. Your notepad has a 3-month life. Your picture is there with them. It's with them at the grocery store. It's with them when you leave a note at the, but this isn't my talk, it's your talk.
See the mental problem I have? I mean, it's just all, it works. I'm like,
Yeah, and it's cheap. You know, it ends up being, I mean, you know, what do you get notepads for? Yeah, 25 cents a piece, and there's 25 pages to a, what?
You can get them for under 10 cents.
10 cents a
Per pad?
Yeah, it's for 10 cents per pad, and there's 25 pages to a pad, so it's like less than a half of a penny per pad. So like less than half of a penny per piece you're printing.
okay.
Every friend has them up.
Yes, Sarah.
Actually, I have one old guy who I think he called you too, and he left me a message again. He picks up the notepad, but he doesn't like to pick up flyers, so he calls me to go and pick up the flyers off his. But he picks up the notepad, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to leave something that I think for the bang for the buck. I mean, I just don't think there's anything much.
One question I have for you, do you use, I assume that you do all your door knocking, you don't send anybody else to send out your flyers, right?
Correct.
Does all of his own door knocking himself.
He
He
gets to
doesn't.
meet everyone there, and people are generally nice.
Yeah.
You know, at first it might be mean and cranky, but like Bill Porter, and it's happened to me, a couple of them stay cranky, but most of them become your best sources.
I remember Mark was saying last time when he did it, you know, one of the meanest, most cranky people that he ended up listing their house, you know, because it's, you know, once you kind of get over that, you know, he ended up creating a relationship with them and called the cops on him. And he ultimately ended up listing the guy's house, which is kind of funny. So Pam, you had a question?
I have a tendency to overcomplicate new things.
Yes.
Do you, when you're door knocking, do you worry about writing notes or things they say, or who's moving, or do you do any of that, or just let it all happen?
I don't, because it takes too much time, and I'm too, you know.
I love it.
I gotta get these flyers out. But, you know, for somebody you don't know, you could say, "Hi, how are you?" Or somebody you do know, "Hi, nice to have met you," kind of things. I don't know.
But you don't analyze any data in it or worry about
No, I could show you a couple
knowing
of
who's doing what when. You just keep going.
yeah, because they'll tell you. But it's if on the front of the flyer, if I don't have the open house, it'll say, you know, something so-and-so record price on their house, or 15 offers, wow, or something like that, you know. But nothing. The hardest part is writing on the back of the flyer when a house closes and the flyers have been printed, or you know, 22 offers, you know, 22 offers, 22 offers. You know, how many times are you gonna write that? And so you do, but.
I think most people, it is analysis paralysis, you know, in this business. I think that's just what happens to a lot of people. I mean, it's just, I think, polar opposite with him. It's just like he wakes up, puts on his shoes and starts walking, and he'll figure out as he goes, which is awesome. Any other questions? We'll have one more question. Anybody? Gabe?
Questions are easy.
If somebody yells at you and tells you not to drop stuff on the doorstep, do you try to track them, or do you just keep putting it down?
Oh, it depends on like how they do it. If they're just doing it as a course of business, then I'll go back. But if they call me by name and say, you know, you whatever, and I don't want to see you ever again, and you whatever, I'll think about it. I'll think about it, or I'll go back like later. and I'll go knock on the door because I'll forget, and I'll go, I forget, were you the one? Do you want these or not want these? I can't remember. Oh. You know. But if they're serious, then I'm, you know.
Where do you leave it when they're not there?
So key thing, I used to leave it right on the door handle so that when they came home it was right there, or they'd open it up and they'd go bang. But now I hide them so that they can see them, but you can't see them from the street. So
People don't get all freaked out that
behind
somebody's
flower, exactly.
People get freaked out that, oh, you left something on my doorstep and everybody knows I'm gone for the weekend.
And exactly. So it's fun, you know, on gutters attached to the house. There's all kinds of different places, but it's kind of fun figuring out where they go.
You probably end up burning. I got to assume you're probably burning, you know, like have like 50,000 calories a month doing what you do too.
It's fun. I get
You
to
probably
eat a lot.
eat whatever you want, right? Oh man, that's even the best part. So, good. Okay, one last question.
Do you knock every time you go out? And if you do knock, how long do you wait before they come to the door?
A second. You can tell when you walk up. You can tell if they're home or not. And if you knock and they surprise you and they are home, it's like they'll wave you off, or they'll say come back. This is pretty rare, but usually they'll go thank you, and you go you're welcome.
It's awesome.
You know, or if they go, you know, if
So
they.
you're saying you knock and run?
Yeah, because usually they're not. No.
You knock and run.
You have a
Yeah.
conversation, you just let them know you put something on their door attached?
Kind of like UPS.
Yeah.
UPS, that's a good one. We've got to remember that, you guys. That's a great thing. So be like the UPS person. They do that ding, ding dong. And you go, what? Oh, there's my
gone.
package. But you still
Exactly.
see the UPS guy walking down the thing and you say, thanks, right? As he's walking back to his truck always, you know? Yes, Raya, one last question, then we're going to wrap it up because we're after 11.
So, Eric, are you knocking every time you're going out there?
So she asked,
Yeah,
is he
so-
knocking every single time? Are you?
Every single time?
Yeah, if I meet someone and we kind of know what the story is, I don't want to knock, they don't want me knocking, and leave it for them. There's a million people I have not met yet, and so,
So
I'll
for-
knock on those just because of curiosity. God, it's been 8 years, I haven't met this person.
So out of curiosity, out of the 5,000 doors a month, how many would you say you knock on out of the 5,000 every
Probably
month?
Probably 20% of them,
So 20
thousand-ish.
So he knocks on 1,000
Or
of the 5,000.
maybe, you know, all of them.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, you
depends
know.
upon how busy you are, what you've got going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, again, if they're home, if they're eating dinner, I don't knock.
Yeah. Okay, I know everyone wants lots of questions. One last one, then we're going to call it a wrap. Lily.
Do you need to dress up to go out?
That's it. Everyone check it out. I mean, that's what I mean, I love.
That's why I dress like this on purpose, because this is. I wore a nice
Approachable.
shirt.
I'm going to give you an Intero shirt, by the way. Before you leave today, I got some Intero polo shirts. You need to be out sporting your Intero polo shirt.
Do you dress up nice for your listing appointment?
Yeah.
Like
So it's so. But by
So
now
what are you
they-
saying? He doesn't dress up so nice right now?
Exactly, but I'm not. I mean, in the beginning when I was younger, I would dress very nice, and you should. And then now it's being older and also being more known. It's a lot easier. When you meet someone the first time dressed like this, they're not sure what I'm about, but after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, they get it.
So when you go on a listing appointment, what do you typically wear?
I'll wear not much more than this and shoes, but usually it's an appointment of, we think we want to sell, we're not sure, can you come tell us what to do? Or what do we do, Eric? So then I'll come over and we'll go over what to do to get their house ready and get it sold. I get a few times when I have a listing presentation, we're talking to 2 or 3 agents. That does happen, but
That was very rare in
that's-
geographical farming for me too.
It's pretty. They don't want to talk. First of all, who wants to talk to an agent?
It's usually come list me calls in your geographical farming. That's the best part about geographical farming is candidly, they typically will most of the time pay you a full commission because they have a tremendous amount of equity in their home most of the time. I found a lot of these people have lived in their home for 20, 30, 40 years. And they're pleasant and nice. And it's usually, Tom, we've been seeing your picture and you knocked on our door forever. And I mean, it's a completely different deal than picking up somebody completely cold that you've only met once or twice. It's just a totally different vibe.
Yeah, they know you.
How do you track your streets that you've hit with that many streets and homes? How do you track which ones you've done on a daily basis?
I think you just kind of know, but if I run out of flyers in the middle of the street, that's the hardest thing. But you kind of know, I did this street. You kind of go in order. I have on the iPad, you can just say finished Arroyo or ended here, but there's a lot of times, not remembering as much. God, did I do this street? And
Just do it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But you figure, you just do it, and then if you can't remember, just put it on your phone.
Cool.
On
All
your
right,
notepad.
man. Well, thanks, Eric.
Welcome.
Appreciate you
Thanks for
coming in.
having me.
Thanks, everyone. Big round of applause. Thanks, guys.